Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star Part 224 based on novel. So let's start. So, this is the control over space and time, thought Luo Feng. He sensed that the intangible power enveloping him was neither space nor time but a force that was superior to both. Blade River Emperor rose up gradually. At that moment, he was like the sun coming out, attracting attention from all the airs. Thunder Beast God looked down with his eyes of thunder. His eyes glinted with friendliness, and the power enfolding Luo Feng vanished, dazing Luo Feng. Thunder Beast God opened his mouth and started to talk. Blade River, Thunder Beast God said. Luo Feng gave a salutation in the sky. Beast God, he said. Your power, your improvement, and your will all satisfy me, Thunder Beast God said. He looked down and concentrated on Luo Feng. I'll bestow you a valuable. Hua! Almost all the heirs down on the ground were thrilled and couldn't help talking among themselves. It's indeed a public bestowal. Thunder Beast God arrived here himself to bestow a valuable. It has to be a true treasure. Why else would Thunder Beast God be here? Blade River Emperor is so lucky that he's going to get a true treasure again. The heirs were all excited, and Thunder Beast God didn't stop their discussions. He was happy to see other heirs jealous. What's all the fuss about? Said one heir. If you could kill Bark Mirror Emperor as an undying fighter, the ancestral god school would also think highly of you and bestow you with a valuable. Blade River Emperor is at the same level as Yuchong Emperor, who was given a valuable in public before. I'll train myself. Perhaps someday I can have the same treatment. Luo Feng couldn't hear the discussions on the ground. Neither did he want to hear them. He was looking forward to the true treasure with exhilaration. Thank you, Beast God. Luo Feng saluted him. Keep up your hard work. Thunder Beast God's voice rumbled. Meanwhile, a gigantic ball of lightning showed up in front of him. The ball had a diameter of tens of thousands of miles, and it flew toward Luo Feng like a meteor. The lightning vanished as the light ball dove down. When it dropped to Luo Feng, the lightning completely disappeared, leaving only an ancient mirror with a diameter of hundreds of miles. The mirror was round and golden, emitting golden light from its surface. It stopped moving directly in front of Luo Feng. Luo Feng looked at the giant mirror in front of him, perplexed. A mirror? Luo Feng blinked. I believe it will be of good use to you, Thunder Beast God said, looking down. Each of his eyes was larger than the mirror. Take it. Yes, Luo Feng answered respectfully. He stored the ancient mirror in his world ring. As for studying the valuable, Luo Feng decided to do it after the Beast God departed. After all, Beast Gods were of high status in the ancestral god school. Thunder Beast God smiled and said, Don't disappoint me, Blade River. Thunder Beast God disappeared, and so did the intangible power. Everything on Borhinia Island was back to how it had been, and all the heirs on the ground were quickly engaged in heated discussions about what had just happened. Many heirs of other races rushed to try to talk to Luo Feng. Congratulations, Blade River Emperor. Congratulations on getting another true treasure, Blade River Emperor. Luo Feng smiled and went back to his palace immediately. He didn't want to talk to other great beings. This baffled them. What is that mirror-like valuable? Asked one heir as Luo Feng left. I don't know, replied another. I've seen some mirror-type true treasures used to aid illusion attacks. Blade River Emperor is proficient in spiritual force weapons. Why would the ancestral god school give him a valuable to aid illusion attacks? Don't make random assumptions. Perhaps only Blade River Emperor knows what it is used for. Hustle and bustle filled Borhinia Island, and the news that Thunder Beast God had arrived on the island and personally bestowed Luo Feng with a valuable had quickly spread. At the same time, Northern Territory Alliance got the news. A white-haired, four-hoofed being walked into the area and said, Haha! The ancestral god school has been using the same techniques since the beginning of the universe. They immediately started to draw Blade River Emperor to their side after seeing how excellent he is. Woo! Pei Feng, did Bark Mirror Emperor come here before? Yes, teacher, Pei Feng Knight said as he followed him. Bark Mirror Emperor did come here before, and he stood on the square in front of my palace. When? The white-haired and four-hoofed being asked. 3 years ago, Payphone Knight answered. Okay. The white-haired and four-hoofed being walked slowly through the area and stopped on a square in front of a floating palace. Payphone Knight followed respectfully. Leave me first, as I'll turn back time, the white-haired and four-hoofed being said. Don't be in my range. Yes. Payphone Knight's eyes gleamed. Payphone Knight flew to a distant place like a beam of light and looked toward his teacher, full of expectations. Though he was a universe overlord, he had only witnessed universe masters performing the turning back time technique once before. Turning back time could injure universe masters, and if a universe master was severely injured, enemies could take advantage of the chance to kill him. This was why universe masters preferred to perform it in secret, unless they trusted the witnesses completely or the chance was small that it would backfire. Howl! 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 The white-haired and four-hoofed being growled and looked around calmly. The time in the space around him started to go backward. It was like a movie being rewound at a rapid rate. Many heirs came here on the square, all the great beings were flying backward, even speaking backward. Time was quickly being turned backward. It all seemed like a strange illusion. Time suddenly stopped, and so did the scenes before them. Bark Mirror Emperor was talking to Payphone Knight in the scene when time had paused. That's me, Payphone Knight said, looking at the paused scene from afar. It was Bark Mirror Emperor standing with him. Everything was illusory in the space and time affected by turning back time. Only the white-haired and four-hoofed being was real. Bark Mirror Emperor, said the white-haired and four-hoofed being, looking at Bark Mirror Emperor. Come, my child. The white-haired, four-hoofed being whispered, and an intangible power quickly put Bark Mirror Emperor under its protection. Go back. Everything started to be restored. It was like a coiled spring. At some point, it would spring back. The universe was able to recover itself, and after a universe master turned back time, the universe would reverse it. Every point in time was in the past for the universe and should not exist at present. The universe would bite back if someone tried to break this rule. Ah! Ah! Bark Mirror Emperor screamed. Ethereal power enveloped him continuously. The white-haired and four-hoofed being watched calmly. He was protecting Bark Mirror Emperor and transferring the backlash of the universe to himself. He was a universe master, and thus he was strong enough to resist such power. Bark Mirror Emperor uttered heart-rending cries, overcome with agony. The universe kept biting back. The power could easily kill Bark Mirror Emperor. Reversing time and resurrection were against universe law, which would be punished by the universe. However, universe masters volunteered to bear such punishment. After a short while, everything was back to normal, but Bark Mirror Emperor now stood on the square, looking around in confusion. What happened? Asked Bark Mirror Emperor. Teacher, Payphone Knight said, flying toward Bark Mirror Emperor. The white-haired and four-hoofed creature nodded and looked at Bark Mirror Emperor. It's done, he said. Bark Mirror Emperor, you've been resurrected. Do not forget that you have died once. I have died once. Bark Mirror Emperor was dazed. Suddenly, all the memories flooded his mind. It was him. It was him. Blade River Emperor. Bark Mirror Emperor's eyes glinted with bitterness and madness. He quickly noticed that something wrong. My true treasures, where are my true treasures? The white-haired and four-hoofed being looked down at Bark Mirror Emperor and said, Bark Mirror Emperor, my job was only to protect you when I reserved the time. I won't bring a true treasure back. It would cost more than obtaining 10 more new true treasures. I'll only resurrect you. Those true treasures and ordinary treasures you had are all gone. After he was done, he disappeared. Payphone Knight gave a salutation. Thank you, teacher. Bark Mirror Emperor saw the giant, white-haired, four-hoofed being leave. He couldn't help looking at Payphone Knight and saying, Payphone Knight, why is Chilan Master less powerful? Do you even need to ask? Payphone Knight said, looking at him coldly. You're an undying special life form with the power of a universe knight. Resurrecting you is like resurrecting a senior universe knight. My teacher reserved the time to save you, and he bore the entirety of the backlash from the universe. Fortunately, my teacher is a top-tier universe master, which is how he's able to withstand it. Such backlash power could easily kill a universe overlord, and my teacher needed to resist it all by himself. If even you can sense the change in teacher's power, teacher was severely injured and will need quite a few valuables to recover. Bark Mirror Emperor was dazed. Actually, he had not known that universe overlords could only be revived by universe supreme masters. He only had the power of an ordinary universe knight, but he was undying. That meant reviving him was like reviving senior universe knights, and the universe bit back hard. Even universe masters were injured by it. Beings at Bark Mirror Emperor's level wouldn't easily notice it, yet he had this time, which meant Chilan Master's injuries were indeed serious. Pei Feng Knight looked at him and said, Northern Territory Alliance thinks highly of your potential, but reversing time to resurrect a great being costs a lot. The backlash power from the universe when resurrecting undying emperors is easily recoverable to universe masters, but resurrecting universe knights will take universe masters a long time to regain their health. You know the rule. This is a free revival. If you die next time, you'll bear all the costs for your resurrection, and it can't be afforded by ordinary universe knights. I understand, Bark Mirror Emperor said in a low voice, clenching his teeth. Remember, you've died once, Pei Feng Knight said. They were in Pei Feng Knight's palace, which was at the center of the Northern Territory Alliance, resembling the primal region of the human race. That was why Chilan Master had been able to resurrect Bark Mirror Emperor without concern. Blade River, Bark Mirror Emperor growled, grinding his teeth harder than ever. Just a tip, said Pei Feng Knight. His eyes glinted with disdain. Don't even think about revenge until you become a universe knight. Bark Mirror Emperor glanced at Pei Feng Knight fiercely. Blade River Emperor is as powerful as a senior universe knight, said Pei Feng Knight. Even I was injured by him. Do not seek out Blade River Emperor for the sake of vengeance. What? Bark Mirror Emperor opened his eyes wide in shock. Until you become a universe knight, you cannot even beat him, let alone kill him. Pei Feng Knight shook his head, took a step forward and returned to his palace. Bark Mirror Emperor stood on the square with his face twitching. Blade River! Blade River! Bark Mirror Emperor clenched his claws. His face twisted with rage. While Bark Mirror Emperor privately seethed, Borhinia Island was a tumult of activity. The heirs were still discussing the arrival of Thunder Beast God. The heirs were all speculating what valuable Blade River Emperor had gotten. Inside Luo Feng's palace, Moshe Body sat with his legs crossed. His original earthling body was already back in the world ring, testing the new valuable. On the boundless plain was an ancient mirror with a diameter of hundreds of miles. Luo Feng stood in front of the mirror and pointed at it. Life imprint, seer. A trace of godly power flew toward it and merged with the mirror. The life imprint contained in the godly power was seared into the valuable. The mirror quickly shrank to the size of his palm. Meanwhile, information flooded Luo Feng's mind. It's called Golden Thread Aurora Mirror. Luo Feng looked at the mirror with a thrill. It's not a true treasure, but it's a top-tier treasure. Regardless, it's more precious than lots of ordinary treasures and would be the envy of any universe knight. Luo Feng immediately understood that the ancestral god school had bestowed him with the most suitable valuable. There were different categories of valuables, including attacking weapons, spiritual force weapons, defense armors, escape valuables, like wings, boots, and ribbons, sealing types, origin types, flying palace types, soul types, and domain types. Original true treasures were used to recover godly bodies. As for surviving, flying palace types and soul types were the most useful. Both of them could weaken material attacks or soul attacks by almost 100%. Sky Wolf Palace and Star Tower were both of the flying palace type. Another type of treasure that was the equal of flying palace type and soul type was the domain type. Thousand Treasures River and Five-Color Aurora Lake were both domain type true treasures. Once they were utilized, they were able to control the area they touched. Within that particular area, the users could suppress enemies who were their equals, and they could bound the enemies who were superior to them, giving them the chance to flee. As for enemies who were weaker, true treasures like Thousand Treasure River and Five-Color Aurora Lake could easily kill them. Domain-type true treasures, although they were aids, were quite handy, to say the least. A domain-type top-tier treasure, Luo Feng said. He looked at the palm-sized mirror. Ancestral God School is indeed generous. I'll be able to control my own fate when fighting supreme beings and decide whether to battle or to flee. Golden thread aurora mirror. Luo Feng burst into laughter. He opened his mouth, and golden thread aurora mirror shrank to the size of the head of a pin and flew into his mouth. It then merged with Luo Feng's chest and left a golden imprint. Drive. Luo Feng injected his godly power into golden thread aurora mirror. Golden threads suddenly emitted from Luo Feng and enveloped the area of 60 million square miles around Luo Feng. Inside the area were countless golden auroras scurrying around like fish. Luo Feng was the center of the area. This is my domain. Luo Feng looked around. Suppress. The golden threads gathered. It might have been able to annihilate an undying emperor easily. Godly power, burn. He drove the law domain again. The golden light pervaded this domain, and the law domain merged with the domain of golden thread aurora mirror. Haha. The ancestral God School is so considerate, said Luo Feng. They know that I became undying after completing gold law comprehension, so they gave me a valuable of the gold category. Luo Feng found out that golden thread aurora mirror's power surged after gold law domain overlapped golden thread aurora domain. So powerful. Luo Feng said. He suddenly felt like he could kill an ordinary universe knight when driving the golden threads with his godly power. With such a treasure, even if I meet with supreme beings, I can bind them first and run away. If I want to fight, I'll just let remote ocean body approach my enemies and self-destruct. My enemies will be trapped in golden thread aurora domain, and they'll be so suppressed that they can't even run away. Luo Feng was overjoyed. This golden thread aurora mirror was rarer and more precious than ordinary true treasures. Besides, to great beings, the compatibility of valuables was much more important than the quantity. Apparently, this golden thread aurora mirror could help Luo Feng's power move one step forward. It amazed Luo Feng to realize how thoughtful the Ancestral God School had been to give him this valuable. Ancestral God School, I am first and foremost of the human race, thought Luo Feng. But I'll be grateful to you for bestowing me with this valuable. After receiving the golden thread aurora mirror, Luo Feng studied it every day and tried to combine it with his other true treasures. He pondered the best way to fight. The door of Luo Feng's palace on Borhinia Island was fiercely knocked on. Blade River, open the door. Blade River. Someone was shouting outside eagerly. Luo Feng, dressed in black, waved his hand and opened the door, saying, "Come in." Without Luo Feng's permission, even his friends wouldn't dare trespass in his palace within range of the five-color Aurora Lake. Luo Feng saw Cha Man Emperor, Lili Emperor, and Thousand Rain Emperor rushing in. What happened? What's got you so worried? Luo Feng smiled. I've never seen you guys like this in all the time we have known each other. It was Moshe Body who greeted them, and he had different auras from the original Earthling body. After all, Moshe Body only performed his talent technique replicate to replicate the aura of the original Earthling body. Which was why Cha Man Emperor, Lili Emperor, and Thousand Rain Emperor didn't notice it. Luo Feng, Cha Man Emperor said. Something has happened. Something really bad, Lili Emperor added. Blade River, said Thousand Rain Emperor, you're in big trouble this time. Luo Feng frowned. What's the issue? Don't worry, just speak slowly. You didn't go to the world of glory, did you? Cha Man Emperor said. That's why you don't know yet. Don't know what? Luo Feng frowned. I've been in my palace these past few days. He had devoted his time to joyfully studying his new golden thread aurora domain. Besides, he was waiting for the Supreme Council meeting of the human race. Why would he go to the world of glory? If he did, he would just be surrounded and assailed with questions. Just tell me, what happened? Luo Feng pressed them. Lili Emperor and Cha Man Emperor opened their mouths almost at the same time. You just. Luo Feng couldn't help but cut in. Lili Emperor, he said. Tell me what happened. Lili Emperor nodded solemnly and said, Luo Feng, Bark Mirror Emperor, who was killed by you, has been revived. How do you guys know he was revived? He died once and didn't have an inheritance token anymore. Luo Feng smiled. But, on second thought, he's an undying special life form, and the Northern Territory Alliance gave him a true treasure before. I already expected he would be resurrected. If you think this is the trouble I'm going to have. No. Li Emperor shook his head. Thousand Rain Emperor and Cha Man Emperor both looked grave. This is what happened, Li Emperor continued. After being resurrected, Bark Mirror Emperor was asked by other heirs in the Northern Territory Alliance about how he got killed. He tried to defend himself, but what he said got you into big trouble. Luo Feng frowned. What did he say? They all looked at him. What did he say? Luo Feng repeated. Bark Mirror Emperor said. Li Emperor's voice started to tremble. He said the reason why he was crushed by you was that his talent technique was not even able to affect you. His talent technique is Soul Attack, which is so powerful that it's able to intimidate many few Universe Knights. Even if it can't kill you, it should at least be able to affect you. Luo Feng frowned. The reasons behind that were his Tower Pearl and his mighty willpower. He also mentioned that he once hunted you in 9 remoteness space, and he used his talent technique Soul Attack at the beginning, Li Emperor said. You were only a sector lord back then, but you were still able to withstand it. The heirs who talked with Bark Mirror Emperor immediately inferred that you have a soul-type true treasure, and Bark Mirror Emperor admitted that. A soul-type true treasure. Thousand Rain Emperor couldn't help exclaiming. Material attacks can only annihilate part of the godly body, yet one trace of a soul attack can completely bend a great being's will. It's terrific. Soul-type true treasures, Flying Palace-type true treasures, and Domain-type true treasures are all ranked among the top-tier true treasures, but when it comes to survival, Soul-type true treasures are definitely the most precious. One Soul-type true treasure is more desirable than dozens of or even 100 ordinary true treasures. Even many universe overlords don't have Soul-type true treasures. Luo Feng became anxious. It had been made public. In the past, he had escaped Bark Mirror Emperor's pursuit, but he had been afraid that Bark Mirror Emperor would make his secret of Soul-type true treasures public. And now, his fears had been realized. And there's more, Li Emperor said. More? Luo Feng said. Bark Mirror Emperor said that the spiritual force weapon you used to attack him was a true treasure, said Li Emperor. No great beings doubted him, as they all watched the footage. Bark Mirror Emperor also said that you killed him and got his true treasure armor and top-tier set treasure. Besides, you've obtained a valuable in the Land of Valuables, and that was one of the top 108 valuables. Plus, you were just bestowed a valuable by Thunder Beast God. Li Emperor gazed at Luo Feng. Luo Feng frowned. What did he mean by that? He also added that, Li Emperor said, after being killed by you, a universe overlord in the Northern Territory Alliance tried to get the true treasure armor back, but you took the true treasure and ran away with a true treasure Flying Palace. Luo Feng opened his eyes wide. What? Pei Feng Knight rushed to the place where you killed Bark Mirror Emperor, and some supreme beings asked him what happened, Li Emperor continued. Pei Feng Knight only said that he was stopped by Ju Feng Knight and got injured, but he didn't reveal any further details. However, Pei Feng Knight and Ju Feng Knight left through the portal at different times, and Pei Feng Knight should have had enough time to deal with you. The assumption that you have a Flying Palace true treasure is not verified, but it's suspected. All in all, you've had 3 true treasures, and you've got 2 true treasures from the Ancestral God School and 1 from Bark Mirror Emperor. Which means, continued Li Emperor, you must have at least 6 true treasures. 1, presumably, is a soul-type true treasure, and another is likely to be a Flying Palace type true treasure. Soul-type, Flying Palace type, and Domain type. All of them are earnestly craved by universe overlords. Each is as priceless as dozens or even 100 ordinary true treasures, yet you have 2 out of 3 of them. The news has spread through the airs and will soon spread across the universe. Can you imagine how many supreme beings will have their eyes on you? Perhaps universe masters don't care about them, but as for universe overlords, they might set a trap to kill you at any time. Luo Feng was ghastly pale after hearing it. Bark Mirror Emperor. He thought. You are vicious. He indeed had soul-type true treasures, but Bark Mirror Emperor had completely invented the story that he had Flying Palace-type true treasures. Ancient Boat Galaxy and Golden Thread Aurora Mirror were indeed of the Flying Palace type and Domain type, respectively, but they were top-tier treasures, not true treasures. Still, they were more precious and rarer than ordinary true treasures. This proved that Flying Palace-type true treasures really could make great beings go crazy. The news is, Blade River Emperor has 6 true treasures, and 2 of them are of Soul type and Flying Palace type, Cha Man Emperor said. Yet you're only at mid-tier Universe Knight level, if not senior Universe Knight level. Luo Feng, you're in big trouble this time. Cha Man Emperor, Li Emperor, and Thousand Rain Emperor left soon after. They gave Luo Feng some video footage before they left. It was the record of Bark Mirror Emperor's conversation with other great beings in Northern Territory Alliance. In the footage, Bark Mirror Emperor said, "I have low law comprehension and weak techniques. I've always used my secret talent techniques to fight Universe Knights. He has a soul-type true treasure to withstand my talent technique. What could I do about that? I could only wait to be killed. Did you say that he had a flying palace? I was already killed, so I didn't know about it until I spoke with the Universe Overlord who went to rescue me." Luo Feng glared at Bark Mirror Emperor on the footage. "Well played, Bark Mirror Emperor, well played." Luo Feng whispered and went to the open-air square in the World of Glory. The moment Luo Feng stepped into the open-air square, he attracted the attention of all the heirs in the square, all of whom had been talking about him. After all, they could now confirm that Luo Feng had at least 6 true treasures, including a soul-type true treasure. They also speculated that he had a Flying Palace-type treasure. All of which made the heirs jealous. Even the Universe Knights were green with envy. After all, few Universe Knights had true treasures. Luo Feng could even feel the disparity between him and the great beings in the Hong Alliance. Apparently, because of their jealousy and greed, their relationship with Luo Feng had changed. Just as I expected, Luo Feng thought. He took a brief tour and then left the World of Glory. Everyone knows about this. All the heirs know, and the superpowers in the universe will probably find out in no time. Is this your revenge, Bark Mirror Emperor? In the secret region of the Northern Territory Alliance. On a floating star fragment, many palaces had been built. There were tens of thousands of servants inside. "Ha ha ha. This is my revenge," said Bark Mirror Emperor. "This is my revenge on Blade River." Bark Mirror Emperor stayed in his practice room, and his eyes glinted with madness. "Indeed. I'm not able to kill you myself, human. It might take me an eternity to be able to do that. Unfortunately for you, you have too many valuables for your own good. I don't need to deal with you myself. Now, there will be universe overlords who come for you. You're dead. Dead." Bark Mirror Emperor laughed out loud. After he was resurrected, the Northern Territory Alliance had bestowed him with several treasures to protect himself. However, he wouldn't be granted a true treasure anymore. Plus, when he had applied for a Beast God Inheritance token, he had been rejected. The senior within the Northern Territory Alliance had told him coldly, "Bark Mirror Emperor, there's no need going there now, as you can't receive higher Beast God Inheritance. Just wait until you become a Universe Knight. After that, we'll give you a Beast God Inheritance token. Don't even think about that before becoming a Universe Knight." Bark Mirror Emperor left reluctantly, and the senior had added as he left, "A moron who only demands but never contributes." Bark Mirror Emperor was infuriated after hearing that. However, the senior was overwhelmingly more powerful than him. Bark Mirror Emperor resented Luo Feng full-heartedly for his misfortunes. "It's all because of you," Bark Mirror Emperor growled, clenching his teeth. "If you didn't have a soul-type true treasure, I could have killed you in 9 remoteness space and gotten all your valuables. And I would still be the powerful special life form." Infuriated by everything that had happened to him, Bark Mirror Emperor had come up with a way to avenge himself. Given that it was almost impossible for him to kill Blade River Emperor, he would let the great beings of the universe go after Blade River Emperor instead. Inside Luo Feng's palace on Borhinia Island. True Yang Knight went to Luo Feng immediately after hearing the news. Luo Feng, Luo Feng. True Yang Knight called, walking into the hall. Luo Feng sat in the hall, drinking tea, relaxed. You're in big trouble now. How are you still drinking tea? True Yang Knight asked anxiously. What trouble? Luo Feng said. He took a casual sip with a smile on his face. Just because I have too many true treasures. So you've heard the news? True Yang Knight was astounded and sat down calmly. I'll deal with anyone who comes for me, Luo Feng said, drinking his tea with a smile on his face. All the great beings of other races will only be my practice targets. He smirked. I'll kill all of them who come for me. What if you can't kill them? True Yang Knight asked. Then I'll flee. Luo Feng sipped his tea again and put down the teacup. But relax, there will be fewer and fewer great beings who are able to force me to flee. True Yang Knight could sense the unrelenting determination and confidence in Luo Feng's word. He could even sense that Luo Feng was already prepared for endless fights and slaughters. Beware, True Yang Knight said. Luo Feng replied, the path to becoming a supreme being is paved in enemies' blood and bones. Luo Feng frowned. He had just received an email in the virtual universe telling him to attend the Supreme Council meeting. True Yang Knight was startled. The meeting is today. Luo Feng and True Yang Knight exchanged eye contact. They had both received the email from the virtual universe system at the same time. I've never been to a Supreme Council meeting, True Yang Knight said. Same. Luo Feng smiled. Let's go. They both connected to the virtual universe with their minds. Go to Pantheon Mountain, Luo Feng whispered in his palace. Pantheon Sanctuary on Pantheon Mountain was where the Supreme Council meeting was held. Since the Supreme Council meeting was being held today, Pantheon Mountain would open automatically when the virtual universe system sent the notifications through email. It was, however, normally closed. Clouds surrounded the mountains. One great being showed up after another, including Luo Feng and True Yang Knight. Some universe knights greeted Luo Feng warmly when he showed up. Blade River. Luo Feng. Luo Feng. 9 flames, thunder. Luo Feng greeted them one by one. He was close with quite a few human universe knights. Luo Feng, Bark Mirror Emperor has brought you lots of trouble after being revived, a winged man said with a smile. A soul-type true treasure and a flying palace-type true treasure. Perhaps they will attract lots of universe overlords of other races. You need to be careful in the future. Luo Feng said, it is indeed a bit tricky, but if those other races want to kill me, they need to decide whether they're powerful enough to do that or not. They'll stay away unless they want to be killed by me. The winged man held the wineglass. It's a wonder you're able to remain calm even under such circumstances. It's clear to see where Blade River gets his reputation. Stop making fun of me, Bloody Wing. Luo Feng smiled and shook his head. Although Luo Feng had met quite a few universe knights, most of them were only acquaintances. Only a few of them were his actual friends. Bloody Wing Knight was one of them. Bloody Wing Knight was known for his aloofness, but Luo Feng and Bloody Wing Knight enjoyed each other's company. To be honest, Bloody Wing Knight said, lowering his voice, the news revealed by Bark Mirror Emperor was indeed surprising. If I belonged to the other races, I would try to attack you. I understand. Luo Feng nodded. Look around. Bloody Wing Knight said. Luo Feng glanced around and saw more than 1,000 universe knights nearby, and there were more in the distance. Some of those he didn't know looked at him significantly, as if they had been talking about him. However, Luo Feng couldn't hear the others' conversations, just as the others couldn't hear his conversation with Bloody Wing Knight. I bet many universe knights are talking about you, Bloody Wing Knight said. Especially those you don't know. Many of them are jealous of you. Jealous? Luo Feng was surprised. There are 2 groups of beings on Pantheon Mountain, Bloody Wing Knight explained. One is here, and those who gather here are 4-starred, 5-starred and 6-starred great beings. They have the power of elementary universe knights, secondary universe knights, and senior universe knights, respectively. The other place is where the 7-starred overlords and universe masters gather. Luo Feng nodded. Indeed, he didn't see any universe overlord around him. The most powerful ones gathering here are at my level, senior universe knights, Bloody Wing Knight continued. Few senior universe knights have a true treasure, whereas secondary universe knights and elementary universe knights don't have any. Usually, universe overlords have several true treasures. As for you, Luo Feng, you're indeed exceptional, but you still can't compare with universe overlords. Yet you have 6 true treasures, and 2 of them are soul type and flying palace type. That's excessive even for universe overlords. How could the universe knights here not be jealous of you? Bloody Wing Knight smiled. Even I am a bit jealous. Luo Feng laughed. Of course, they're humans, so nobody will attack you, Bloody Wing Knight said. However, those universe knights who don't know you might try to exclude you out of jealousy. Exclude me? Luo Feng whispered. Because they're bitter, Bloody Wing Knight said. Then I'll convince them with my power, Luo Feng said. If I can rival universe overlords or even surpass universe overlords in the future, they'll have to respect me. Then you need to become a universe knight. Bloody Wing Knight smiled. Luo Feng gazed into the distance. The great beings from the Huge Axe Dojo, the Universe First Bank, the Universe Star River Bank, and the Universe Mercenary Alliance were all talking about this issue with their friends. At least 6 true treasures. Luo Feng didn't have the valuable or the treasure bestowed by Thunder Beast God when he was being hunted by Bark Mirror Emperor in 9 Remoteness Space. However, he already had 3 true treasures. In particular, that soul-type true treasure. He was only a sector lord back then. How was he able to obtain a true treasure? It had to be given to him by a great being. Yes, Primal Chaos City leader favors him too much. How could he just give a soul-type true treasure to a sector lord? We universe knights don't even have ordinary true treasures, whereas he could get a soul-type true treasure as only a sector lord. The more they talked about it, the more unfair they thought it was. Why? Why would a sector lord be qualified to have 3 true treasures? Especially a soul-type true treasure. Lots of universe overlords within the human race didn't have soul-type true treasures. Even if Primal Chaos City leader had treasures, he shouldn't have just given them all away. It couldn't convince anyone. Although they were upset, none of them dared to talk about it with Primal Chaos City leader. After all, he was the supreme leader of the Virtual Universe Company. They were not entitled to pick a fight with him. Time passed, and more universe knights gathered on Pantheon Mountain. The Supreme Council meeting was about to be held. Luo Feng. True Yang Knight walked towards Luo Feng. Luo Feng turned around. Teacher. True Yang Knight blocked the sound around them and said, "It seems that lots of universe knights are upset about you obtaining 3 true treasures when you were only a sector lord, especially the soul-type true treasure. Many of them think that Primal Chaos City leader has been unfair. Do you think you ought to go to Primal Chaos City leader and tell him about this? 3 true treasures when I was a sector lord? Unfair?" Luo Feng didn't even know how to react. Primal Chaos City leader had only given him 1 true treasure, Shi Wu Wing. Both Star Map and Tower Pearl had been given to him by Zhuoshan Ku. Especially the soul-type true treasure Tower Pearl, it was a vital component of Star Tower, the center of the sealed space. It had nothing to the human race. Well, Luo Feng hesitated. He didn't know what to say. Surely he couldn't say that it was given to him by Zhuoshan Ku. "I'll think of something," Luo Feng said, shaking his head. "It doesn't matter that they're talking about this. I can't expect to be close with all the great beings. Some of them are my friends, some of them are jealous, and some of them are my foes. It doesn't matter." "It doesn't matter to you," True Yang Knight said. "However, it will affect Primal Chaos City leader's reputation. Even if Primal Chaos City leader did bestow me a valuable," said Luo Feng, "he gave me his own valuables instead of using the shared resources of the human race. He can do whatever he wants with them. Just let the others be jealous." Luo Feng smirked. Besides, Primal Chaos City leader earned his status by his invincible power. Primal Chaos City leader was invincible in the primal universe. With this advantage, no matter how biased people thought he was, nothing could sway his status. The issue was that Primal Chaos City leader had been fair and just. Reckless Universe Masters didn't draw any complaints even when they did something preposterous, but many great beings would be upset if they thought Primal Chaos City leader was biased. More and more great beings gathered on Pantheon Mountain. All the universe knights looked up and saw two golden doors open gradually. There were stars on the doors, and the location of the meeting was in the floating palace on Pantheon Mountain known as Pantheon Sanctuary. A voice resounded down the mountain. Human great beings, gather. All the universe knights on Pantheon Mountain disappeared and were transported to Pantheon Sanctuary. The doors closed. Inside Pantheon Sanctuary stood a gigantic round table with exquisite sculptures on it. Luo Feng could only see a portion of the table while the other part was blurry, as if it were surrounded by mist. Luo Feng sat on one of the thrones surrounding the round table. Her! Luo Feng touched the arms of the chair and turned around. He saw the words Blade River etched on the chair. He looked around. So many universe knights. There were many universe knights sitting at the bottom, and they were all elementary universe knights. They had the smallest thrones, and each was around 6 feet wide. The thrones of secondary universe knights were around 30 feet wide. Those of senior universe knights were around 160 feet wide. Luo Feng sat on a 30-foot wide one. He was only able to see elementary universe knights, secondary universe knights, and senior universe knights. As for universe overlords and universe masters, he couldn't see them at all. Luo Feng stroked the throne and exclaimed, "The throne fits my godly body perfectly." His hands fit on the chair's arms precisely. This video will end here.